This conference is being recorded.
Good evening. It is July 27th, 2015, and this is Global Skywatch Radio. This is Russ Tanner, the founder and host of Global Skywatch Radio. And really, this isn't a radio broadcast at all. It's just an opportunity for all of us to get together and share information, coordinate our meetings, and to do the things that we need to do in order to be effective at getting geoengineering, chemtrails, whatever you want to call it, to stop. This is the first time I've done a radio show in a long time, and I'm coming back because the spraying is coming back more fiercely than ever, and I feel the need to get information out because there is so much to this issue that other people are not talking about. Now, what I'm going to do on our calling consoles, I'm going to go into Q&A mode, and for those who are listening, you can just press *6 on your phone if you'd like to speak. Well, we only have a few people on the line right now, so I'm going to leave it open for everybody. Is there anybody... well, first I want to just announce that if you want to call in, the number is 605-562-3140. That's 605-562-3140. And you have an access code that you'll have to type in, and that access code is 156230. Now, I've been on the line here, been online trying to get this broadcast to start, or trying to get all the technical aspects of this to work, and I'm not even sure that it's working right now, so let me just check and make sure that this really is working. Okay, it says we are live now, so if you want to go to the Everything No One Else Is Talking About live stream, that's the one that we're streaming on right now. So if you can't hear us online, that's the one you want to go to. So let me just have a second here to make sure that this is working. All right, well, while we're waiting for that to come up, who's on the telephone and wants to speak right now? Gary, aren't you there?
Hi, yes. Sorry, Gary. Russ, I was trying to. I was on our group page, and I was trying to do a little maintenance there. Someone had reported.
Oh, good. Is anyone who's on the phone right now on the live stream, and are you able to see the live stream? Oh, good. Is anyone who's on the phone right now? There we go. It looks like it's working. All right, good.
I'm on the phone. I can't see the page.
Oh, no problem. Okay, so Gary, so what's going on? You're in the Tampa Bay area, right?
Yes, I'm in the Tampa Bay area.
All right, so tell me, any events or anything going on down there you want to announce, or what's been going on in Tampa Bay with trying to raise awareness about what's going on in the skies?
I did make an event for the Tampa Bay area. I scheduled it for October. Because on I think the last Saturday, but I haven't really been promoting it. I wanted to do a march starting at one of the parks in Tampa, and I wanted to go, I wanted to be a police escort, so that way we can march down the street when we meet up at this park in Tampa, and I want to go down Ashley Drive and turn on to Kennedy Boulevard, and I want to head right to the Channel 13, the news station, and do a little rally in front of the news station. I don't know if that's possible, but I did make an event there, and I'm still a little bit busy, and I haven't been promoting it.
Okay, just make sure you're talking right into your phone. It's a little bit hard to hear you, but I can still hear what you're saying.
Is that better?
Oh, that's a whole lot better, yes.
Okay. Yes, I want to promote it more, because I just made the event, and I posted it, on one website, or, on one of the Facebook pages, trying to get people to join me, at the march in October.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, not too far from Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like you were saying, if there was an event that you said you would like to join me, I don't know if you are available in October to join me.
Well, if I happen to be down in Florida, I will more than love to join you. I'll definitely be there. If I can get down to Florida, that would be awesome, and I would love to do that. So what we want to do is put the announcement out that anybody, and you want to shoot for October, right?
Yeah, it's October. I think it's either the last Saturday or the second Saturday of the end of the month.
Okay, so either the last or the second to last Saturday in October, you want to have a march where people go down Kennedy Boulevard. I know right where you're talking about because I grew up in Newport Richey, Florida, and so I know right where that is. I know right where you're headed. I know that area. So you're gonna go down there to Channel 13. They have that big tower in the sky down there, right? That big round thing.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
Yep. That's their Doppler radar thing, I think. Okay, and you want to go down there. So people who are listening, this is Gary from Florida, and they want to try to get a march together for October, maybe one of the last 2 Saturdays in October, to go down and march in front of Channel 13. And that Kennedy Boulevard is very, very busy, right? And this will be a great place to hold up signs and to raise awareness about the largest crime against humanity in human history, right?
Yeah. Well, if we do a police escort, they would have to shut the road, shut it down, I guess. I don't know. That has to be arranged ahead of time, but,
Well, that would be great. I mean, if you had enough people, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because they have a lot of events at that park, like here in Tampa, not too far from the library. I thought of holding my own little protest, like using signs right here in the downtown area so people go to that library.
Okay, speak right into your phone. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. I thought of using that park because they had events there at this park on Ashley Drive, like there in Tampa, and I thought of doing my own little protest by like using a sign and talking about what geoengineering is and how we need to stop this. There's just so much damage from this geoengineering. The trees, I can show you pictures of almost every tree has green mold, like kind of like on the north-facing side of the trees. Mm-hmm. I know you probably noticed that in Maine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, if you're looking at the live stream right now, I'm going to show some pictures from an interview we did before that shows some of the messes that we have going on with the trees and some of the mold and mildew and all of the aluminum damage that's taking place. I'm going to pull that up, but I also wanted to. So I want to put the word out. I mean, I want this radio show to be a meeting, a global meeting for people to come together, make their announcements at the top of the show, or if they have prospective announcements or prospective events like you do, Gary, let's talk about it and let's get people together. So Kennedy would be a great place to get out there, hold up signs. You could reach thousands of people just by standing out there a few hours. Isn't that the case? Yes.
You've been by the Channel 13. You see how the fun is on Channel 13. I like to do what they did in California. Excuse me if I'm not hearing you if you talk. I don't have my ear right on the phone. I'm trying to talk right into the mic as you say you couldn't hear me. So if I talk over you, forgive me.
Oh, no problem. That's a lot better. That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk right in it. So if I'm talking over you, it's probably because I don't have the earpiece, like in my. But I can hear you, pretty loud. I like to go back on the tree thing. The branches, when they fall off, I noticed when one of the branches fell off and the green mold kind of fell off of it. I don't know if it's a mold. Is it a mold or is it some kind of goop?
Usually the green stuff you see on there is lichen.
I know it's alive. I don't know what. Mm-hmm. It could be a mold, but it's so weird. It's almost like, you ever seen snowflakes? The way snowflakes are?
Mm-hmm.
That's how the mold looks like. It's kind of like, it's all like, it was coming off the tree, and then the branch did it, they're breaking off, falling to the ground from the windstorm we're getting. They're all dry and green. The whole branch is all green. So is that kind of like killing the branches?
Well, I'm getting reports of this kind of stuff all over the world. We're having trees dying, shrubs dying. Some of they're just not getting leaves, or their leaves are turning brown and shriveling up. They look like they've been sprayed with herbicide. this is happening, and I want to tell everybody, and I'm very passionate about this subject because I smell and taste this, and we have all these disinformants. In fact, there was this new video that came out today. I don't remember the fellow's name, but he's I guess he's a meteorologist, and he has a tinfoil hat on. Some of you may have seen the video, and he's making fun of this whole thing, saying, oh, well, you know, some people think the government, the evil government, is spraying. Look, I smell and taste this. This is not a joke for me. The very first day that they started spraying me in the place that I lived at the time, 2005 November, I'll never forget it. My sinuses were burning, my throat hurt, my bones, my joints. I had a terrible headache, just absolutely terrible. And the taste and smell, especially the salty taste of metallic salty taste in the air. So this is very, very real to me, and this is why I do this radio show. I never dreamed in my entire life that I would be doing something like this. So this is why we do what we do. And these people who are out there disinforming the public, we know that there's a public disinformation campaign. We know that these people, some of them are military contractors. I've had one call me and tell me that his buddy was set up with about 200 people in a room that lied to the public, saying that these lines in the sky coming out of these jets are harmless contrails. That's a lie. They're being paid to do this, funded by the military through a contractor, and this was right from the mouth of a guy whose military buddy was set up in business doing this, and he's making lots of money. He was bragging to his friend. So this is deadly real. Well, I'll tell you what, Gary, we're going to tell everybody Saturday, one of the last 2 Saturdays in October of this year, 2015, you would like to organize something where people walk down Kennedy Boulevard, go in front of Channel 13, lots of traffic there, and hold up signs. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to add one more thing. Gary, you had told me, you had come up with an idea when we were chatting a couple months ago about having a telemarketing type of situation that would actually call people and tell people just like telemarketers do. I know this, people don't like telemarketers, but this is something that nobody else has ever brought up before, and I thought this might be a quite brilliant idea. And in order to do this, we need people. You can do this with a PC computer and a phone line. You can program. You can buy software that will use a PC computer to call out and to solicit people with a message. Now, I don't know what the licensing requirements or the legal requirements are to do something like this, but we need people to look into this, because this could be a very powerful way to just let a PC just run all day long and all night long and call people and tell them about this. I thought that was a pretty brilliant idea. So if anybody is interested in working to put together something like this, we need someone to coordinate this project. We need somebody who is computer savvy. We need somebody to administrate, somebody to look into legal technicalities. It'd probably take a team of anywhere 5 to 8 or 10 people to carry out this project, but it could be very, very powerful, and you could reach tens of thousands of people every month. So if anybody's interested, go ahead, Gary.
Like what you were saying earlier, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Like what you were saying, you can, if people are more interested, if we can get more than 10 people, more than 10. I'm sorry, I hope I'm talking in the phone. If we can get more than 10 people, maybe we could go do a GoFundMe page, maybe to for any funding, right?
Absolutely. I mean, getting a hold of an old computer that could handle this would probably be nothing. I mean, I've got computers sitting around, old computers that I decommissioned when we had to upgrade, and I tend to hoard and keep my electronics around. So that kind of stuff wouldn't be expensive, but the software might be a little pricey. We also need a list of phone numbers, and I don't even know. I mean, I've never done anything like that, but if we have some enterprising people who are willing to try to make a project like this work, we could set up a GoFundMe page and make something like this work. So if you're listening to this and you're interested, or you know somebody who might be interested, please contact me, Russ at globalskywatch.com, and let's get something like this going. It's up to you. I am doing everything I can with all the time that I have. I'm spending all the money that I can spend every month. I don't make money. I lose money doing this. I have to buy a server. I have to pay for live stream, and yada yada. It goes on and on. And I will help in the initial coordination, but we eventually would need a coordinator for this. And this is a brilliant idea. So if you're listening to this broadcast, I want to keep this fast-paced because I want to try to keep these shows shorter and more information-packed. So, Gary, I think that was an excellent idea. And I think the idea of marching down Kennedy Boulevard, going from Channel 13 with signs, I mean, this is such an easy way to reach thousands of people to get on a busy road and just hold up a sign. We have endgeoengineering.com signs, and the endgeoengineering.com website is specifically designed for introducing people to this subject. And I want to get website. Are you a website designer? That site needs some work. It needs to be made mobile ready. We want to change the background color to white and make it a little bit more user friendly. So if you're a web designer and you want to help redesign that site for us, please contact me, russ@globalskywatch.com. I can set you up with an FTP account and you can help us, or you can redesign the site for us. So we need people. If you care about this issue, and if we can't get enough people to care about this issue, then I really wonder what I'm doing, spending my time to do this anyway. But I have a conscience, and I suffer, and that's what I'm trying to do. Gary, I really appreciate the idea you came up with and your passion, and you keep pushing, and you've made phone calls, and I really appreciate what you're doing. Is there anything else you want to announce, any other ideas, any other thoughts? Go ahead. Mic is yours.
Okay, another thing, I did call the EPA today, and I was really going in circles. They gave me one number, and they gave me another lead, they gave me another lead, and I'm like going back in circles. I told them, you know what, I don't want us to just keep going around in circles. I want the EPA to do their job and come and test our air. And that's why I'm really pushing on it. And I record those calls.
Okay, talk right into the mic. Talk right in the mic.
I'm sorry. I record all my calls when I call EPA. And I'm asking them, can you come and test the air? I got one EPA that told me, we already did tests. We didn't find anything in the test. And when I asked them, can you send me that information? I'm still waiting on that information. I'm still waiting on that. And then the FAA is supposed to give me some information on the aircraft that are up in the sky at the time. So I kind of want to put the two pieces together and get the airplanes, and then ask them for any information about these aircraft, so that way we can contact those airliners doing it. I don't really think it's commercial aircraft, because the way they leave the airport, am I coming in okay?
Yeah, you're loud and clear. Okay,
good. I asked them, I don't think I need the information from them, and like I was saying, I don't think they're commercial aircraft, because the way when they take off from the airport, the commercial aircraft continue on their way. These airplanes jump right out of they're heading, and they go into all crazy different directions, and I know those are not commercial planes. I mean, they can't. Some of them are flying so close to each other, and they're just like, I know it's a geoengineer program.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, commercial airplanes, I think the commercial airplanes people see flying that are leaving trails, I think those are probably painted to look like commercial jets, and that's how they try to convince people that these are contrails. I mean, there may be exceptions to that. There may be some program to make commercial jets spray as well, but all the jets that I've seen from 2005 forward, they have all been, except for the first 6 months, they were all silver or white unmarked jets, and large. They're all like DC-9, 747s, 737s, A330s, those kinds of jets. So I totally agree with you, Gary. This is predominantly not commercial traffic. Most people I talk to see that these jets are not commercial.
Yeah, we brought that up to them, like, oh, they're noticing that these are not unmarked planes. Then they started painting the planes.
Mm-hmm.
They started to paint them like America. I don't think it was American. I think it was Southwest, is what I saw.
Well, it's really important for people to understand that the people who are doing this have all the money in the world, so they can do anything. I mean, they can make anything happen. I've seen pictures of drones that have been painted to look like commercial airlines. I mean, little drones that are like probably 20 feet long. Or 40 feet long at most, but I mean they look like they're painted to look like commercial airliners, and it's just a way. And they're poor paint jobs too. But from a distance, I guess it doesn't matter. But this is another way to fool the public, and the government should not be fooling the public. The government is your contractor to provide 17 specific services for you, according to the Constitution of the United States. It is your contractor. They're working for the general public. But listen, Gary, I want to move on to see if anybody else wants to talk and has any other announcements to make. You got it. Thank you for all the. Go ahead, Gary. What?
I was waiting to see who wants to talk next and see some good information, some events in their area. I want to hear people really become active. That's what activists are. They should be more active. So that's what I had to say. Thank you, Les.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for all that you're doing. And if anyone else wants to speak, we've got a few people on the call-in console here. You're welcome to speak up if you have an announcement or there's just something you want to share. No mics are muted at the moment, so speak on up and talk if you'd like to.
I'll put myself on mute.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gary. Also, I don't know what you guys want me to get into tonight. You know, I have a great passion to talk about the deeper side of what's going on with the spraying. I've studied government corruption since the 80s. I don't consider myself an expert in a lot of the subjects that I speak on, but I have put enough pieces together that I see the big picture. And the big picture is coming down very quickly, and the people who are in power are making their move right now. It's happening. And the generation, you all who are listening live right now, are going to live through the most historic, the most dynamic, the most tumultuous time in history. And I have no doubt about this. I see all of the signs of it coming together very, very rapidly. And sometimes people have talked to me and they've wanted to know more details, and I have made a few recordings about the big picture, because I see very rarely do people sit down and just put it all together in a big picture and say, this is who's doing it, this is why they're doing it, and this is the end game. This is what is going to happen. Because we already know the end game. We already know what is going to happen. But I'll get to that in a few minutes if there's enough interest. Otherwise, I won't waste my time. But I do want at least people to wake up to the fact that I have been contacted by hundreds of people now who do smell and taste this, including myself. My health has been dramatically affected by this, and when the air gets better, I get better, people around me get better instantly. I mean, within 10-15 minutes, people feel differently. Then when the air gets bad again, just because you can't smell or taste it doesn't mean it's not affecting you. And if you even don't feel like you have any health effects from the spraying campaign, it doesn't mean that it's not affecting you in the long term. So, anybody else want to speak up who's on the call-in console? Speak up now. Now's the time. Any announcements, any things you want to say? Go ahead.
Hey, Russ.
Hello.
Hello, this is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
I am calling from Sam's Valley, Oregon, which is just north of Medford. And yes, indeed, 2 years ago I did start to feel physical effects from this, but I had no idea exactly what it was. I was getting muscle pains. I was Googling fibromyalgia. I listened to one of your radio shows, and the light bulb clicked. I feel like I'm coming into this fight right now just in the nick of time. I feel that this is our window. You know, what you just said is so true. This is our window. They do have an agenda. And what's really interesting is I grew up with a father who was raised in Nazi Germany. And so I have grown up very aware of what governments can do. I've grown up very aware of what the power structures are. And when people talk about these things, it's to me, it's just common sense. And I guess what I'd like to talk about is the great lie that they are trying to tell us, that we have no power to stop this. And I believe that when enough voices speak, we indeed do have the power. You know, revolutions have started on smaller things than this. And this is huge. This is global poisoning. They are killing us. They are killing the planet. It's stepping up. In 2003, I moved to Bend, Oregon. And the sky in Bend was the thing that I loved the most. It was beautiful. It was blue. The light was there. It was amazing. And I didn't notice lines in the sky. I would have noticed them. And in 2007, I moved over here by Medford, and the first thing I noticed, it was dim. But it's been the last couple years that they've really ramped this up. And I feel that either they're getting so bold that their agenda is unfolding, or, I don't know, could they be getting desperate, Russ?
I I'll tell you, I have a lot of ideas about what's going on because this has been the source of the focus of my research since the 80s. And again, I don't like to call myself a specialist in any of this, but I do believe that I feel like I know in the big picture what is going on. When you put the pieces together, it becomes very obvious, and I know a lot of people haven't had the time to do that. I've been fortunate in my life to be able to set aside some time to devote to this. So I would love to, if there's enough interest, get into some of the details in a few minutes about what's going on. But I want to just concur with what you're saying about the trails. I've been a skywatcher since I was a child. I collected pictures of jets and rockets. I used to draw the pictures of jets and rockets. I lived on Air Force bases. I lived near Dulles International Airport for 3 years in Rockville, Maryland. I grew up north of Tampa Bay in Newport Richey, so there was jets in the sky all the time because Tampa Bay is filled with jets. Tampa Bay International Airport is probably the second most beautiful airport in the world. Was for a while it was the most advanced airport. It's got trolleys and stuff that go out to the gates. It's very cool. Of course, that was a lot more airports have been built since then that are very up to date and futuristic. But I have seen jets in the sky all my life. Watched them. I used to fly annually to Western New York, to Buffalo, and in all of this time watching the sky, collecting pictures of jets, I used to use my lunch money. Instead of using my lunch money to buy lunch, I would go to the Rockville library, which was huge, and I would make copies of jets and rockets, and I collected thousands of pictures of them. And in all of those pictures of jets and all of the sky watching, living military bases, living in some of the busiest airspace bases in the world, I've never seen in a trail come out of a jet engines. Never, not once, not ever. If I had ever seen it happen, I would have thought that the jet was on fire or there was something seriously wrong with the engine. Today, 49 out of 50 jets I see in the sky are white or silver, unmarked, and they have trails coming out of the engines. I smell and taste this stuff as it descends. And those of you who've seen those trails in the sky that look like they have the drippy edge bottom, have you ever seen those, Kathy?
Oh, yeah.
I believe what's happening is the particulates are falling out so quickly and rapidly. They fall out very rapidly that it's dragging some of the white stuff or some of the particulates that have condensed around the nuclei, that the aerosols that have been released, and it just pulls it down into those drippy-edged formations. Because when they're flying at very low altitudes, I know a lot of you have heard me say this before, but those who are new to this, I will tell you, since I smell and taste this stuff as clearly as if you were spraying aluminum dust in my face, I have an extremely sensitive sense of smell and taste. You can open up a package of food. You can, it's absolutely amazing. The sense of smell and taste that some people have, and this is scientifically documented. Some people have much, much more sensitive senses of smell and taste than others. Well, I'm one of those, and so I'm obligated. I am obligated by the conviction of my own conscience to tell people this, because if I didn't, I am not helping to prepare people for this danger that is happening. And I am also, of course, angry about the fact that my life has been taken of me, that my quality of life has been completely damaged by this. So, sorry to go on and on, but what I'm just trying to say to people, I smell and taste this. The particulates fall out very, very quickly, and today they're trying to hide it by spraying at higher altitudes. The low altitude spraying, the stuff reaches the ground in 20 to 40 minutes. I know this because for years I stood outside, I would watch it, and I would time it, how long it would take, and it was very consistent. In 2010, they started spraying at high altitudes in more and more locations, and now it takes an hour to 2.5 hours for this stuff to reach the ground. So it falls to the ground much more quickly than you think. And people think, oh, these particles are so small, they're like dust or vapor, and they just blow. No, they don't, because density in your cross section, the actual mass, or the density and the actual cross section, is what determines how fast something falls. Because if you drop something in a zero atmosphere where there's no air, in a perfect vacuum, it doesn't matter how light or heavy it is, it'll fall at the same rate. And these particulates are very, very small. They have a very small cross section. They fall very quickly to the ground. This is not a very intuitive scenario, because people think that these particulates will drop very slowly. But Kathy, sorry to go on and on with you there, but you know, you probably know, you've watched the sky long enough in your life that you know that this is not normal. Like in the 20 years ago or whatever, you didn't see this stuff going on, did you? Or what did you see?
No, this is absolutely not normal. This is not something that I grew up seeing. This is something that is only been escalating over the past few years. I don't doubt for a minute that they have been engineering the weather for 40 or 50 years. I mean, when I was a kid, they talked about cloud seeding. But what we have going on right now is a diabolical plot. I'm out here in the West, where it is so dry, and you look at the satellite maps, and you can clearly see the lines that have been sprayed out off the coast. You can clearly see the pressures that they are putting on by the ionosphere heaters to keep the moisture off. You know, I was out at 1 o'clock in the morning. I work night shift, so I have really weird hours. So I was out at 1 o'clock in the morning a few weeks ago. It was right after a heavy spray day. I went outside to look for one of the cats. And my daughter was with me, and we had the beam of the flashlight shining, looking for the cat. And it looked like a dust storm outside. It looked like there was so much particulate matter floating around in the air, and it was so thick. And I looked at my daughter and I said, "We're breathing this stuff." And there is no dew point. You know, Dane mentioned it the other day. After I was thinking, well, why don't they report dew point anymore? Why don't they report this? Why don't they report that? I am blocked from commenting on the Facebook page of the local TV station because, and it's not because I was harassing them. I simply posted information. So
right. That's what they do. They don't want information getting out, and the weathermen, the meteorologists are controlled. They are informed. If you're either going to toe the line or you're not going to have a job, all of the meteorologists are paid by the media companies, which are owned by basically 6 large corporations, whether it's Clear Channel or Disney or Viacom, Time Warner. These companies are all consolidated, and they all work together in a very coordinated fashion. Sounds like a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy because that's how you take over a country. Or a country or a world, is you have to first control the media. But sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead. What else?
Well, and back to the people having the power to do something about this. You know, Gary calls the EPA, and Gary has called the FAA, and Gary and I have talked about it in the chat on the internet. But my method is I write to them, and I've posted a couple of the examples of things that I've sent to the EPA. That way I can print it out, document it. It's something in writing that there's evidence that there's a trail. You know, I have written to my congressman. I've written to the representatives. You get a canned response. So that tells me that this is like the people that own the radio stations and the TV stations. This thing is deep, and people get frustrated and people get hopeless. And I think that's the message that I really want to drive home to people. We have power. We have power in numbers. And if everybody gets together and realizing that they're spraying us with stuff that's going to make us apathetic, it's like if we can channel the inner warrior in us and just make ourselves heard. You know, I keep saying, this is our window, this is our window. And what you've been saying, this is our window. And I think it's winnable. Is it going to be easy? No. But
you're absolutely right, Kathy, and this is our window. You know, every single time in history when a large group of people have come together and they have opposed something that the government was doing, corruption that was taking place, it stopped. They back down. They back off. Because here's the principle. Government serves who government fears. If government fears the industrialists who control the lobby, who control the governments, who control the media, who control the elections, then they will serve the industrialists who control the elections, who controls the lobby, who controls the media. If government fears the people, they will serve the people. This is an age-old principle that people know about. We do have the power. I completely agree with you. But people have to be willing to stand up and do something. But that is the problem. They are actually making people fearful and apathetic. And by the way, that is one of the side effects of Mercury. This has been documented in study that I read, and I know it from my own personal experience and from many, many people I've talked to, that when you become mercury toxic and other metals will make you fearful, apathetic, not clear-minded, tired, lethargic. Sometimes you can have narcolepsy and other type of reactions to all of this. So the very things they're spraying you are keeping you from stopping them from spraying you, which is, in part, the point. What do you think?
I think that's true. I think that to be able to control the masses, you have to infect them with something, basically. Infect them with a toxin. Infect the mercury, for instance. Lithium. Lithium is used in the psychiatric world as a mood leveler. It's used to treat bipolar disorder and a number of different things like that. And if they're spraying that en masse, Ann Fillmore over on the Oregon coast talks about this. She knows when there's lithium days, because everybody gets lethargic. Everybody wants to go take a nap. Everybody gets, a complete lack of energy.
That's right, yes.
And I look at that and I'm thinking, okay, I'm aware of it. People talk about this affecting their mood. People are angry. They feel anger. And yes, I think something that they're spraying does provoke anger. It's a reaction in the body. We're a biological being, and when we are exposed to toxins, it's going to cause a reaction, be it high blood pressure. Now, that happens to me when they spray that low-level toxic crap.
Oh, let me interject real quick and tell you about that. I have people who have called me. This is what happens to me. They spray this stuff at night. It begins between 7:30 and 10 p.m. every night, with a few exceptions, that cause massive high blood pressure in me, and this is what people call me, and they have exactly the same symptoms that I'm about to tell you. My veins stick out of my arm. It looks like I'm in the middle of an intense workout. This is how strong it is in me. And I have such heart pain. I have, my cardiovascular system is absolutely pumped up with blood so strongly that it has caused me a great deal of fear, heart pain, and I have to take anti-inflammatories. I've had people that call me and they say to me, I had a woman call me just this week, and she goes, I don't know what's causing it, and she didn't know about, she had heard about chemtrails, but she didn't know much about it, and she doesn't smell and taste them like I do. I say, we get hit with a plume every 2 hours. That's the general schedule, and that's the whole Northeast, because I've traveled the Northeast, and everywhere I've gone, it's basically the same. And she goes, every 2 hours, I just get hit with this pain, and my blood pressure shoots up, my veins are sticking out of my arm, and I fear for my life. And I'm like, this is the geoengineering. These are the chemical aerosols you're getting hit. This is exactly what happens to me throughout the night, and then they taper off in the morning. And the most mild part of the day is the late morning and early to mid-afternoon. That is generally, now it's not always true, because if a front is coming up, a storm front is coming in, they will lead that with heavy spraying. But other than that, that is generally the schedule. Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all. Well, I'm a nurse. I'm in the medical profession. And I have such a distrust of standard medicine. Now, all you doctors and nurses out there, don't get all weird. But they look at a symptom, and medicine is programmed to give you a pill. They are programmed to treat a symptom. And there are a lot of holistic doctors, many of which are being killed right now, by the way. But there are doctors that do investigate what the cause of certain symptoms are. I look at the patients that we have in our intensive care unit, and you can clearly track, when you look at them, where their disease began. Be it, give it anything, high blood pressure, diabetes, anything, heart disease. And when you look at the symptomology of these things, you have to find the root cause. Well, we know what the root cause is. We know what it is. Now, how do we treat it? And you've talked about herbal sources. I do herbal things. A year ago, my blood pressure was off the charts. I don't have high blood pressure, but I did. Now I know how to treat it with the anti-inflammatories. I actually find that an antihistamine works good. And no, I'm not prescribing people out there, but
no, you're just saying what works good for you. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. Do you do cayenne? Because cayenne is actually It's like taking nitroglycerin a little bit.
Absolutely. In fact, not only do I have cayenne, but I bring an emergency kit with me because those who know me know that I had a heart attack in 2011 from the chemical aerosols that are being sprayed. And I got to the hospital. The only thing they found wrong with me, was my potassium was through the floor, and they had no idea. They had no idea why. Now I started taking potassium because, and I haven't had the problems. Now I still have the inflammation, I still have the pain, but it's not the same type of pain. It's not nearly as bad as it used to be. The potassium makes all the difference in the world because those who don't know, haven't heard me say this before, and barium actually depletes potassium in the body. In fact, barium is used in animal testing to artificially induce high blood pressure and heart attacks in test laboratory animals. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I bring liquid cayenne with me wherever I go, and if we have a really bad attack and I have a lot of heart pain, I will take that. I'll take 2 tablespoons of it. It hurts. It's very, very, very hot, but it is a vasodilator, and it dilates all those veins and capillaries so blood can get back and start flowing. I bring it with me wherever I go.
And I think that when people look at heart attacks, they think blockage. But the reality is there's a number of different ways that you can have a heart attack. You can have the chemical type of heart attack, or like your depletion of potassium. You can have spasms of your coronary arteries without blockage. You can have anemia where you're having a heart attack because you're basically not circulating blood to the heart. But I think what we're talking here is the spasms that are being caused by this stuff. And I think that is because it's causing spasm in the microcirculation in the body, I think that it is driving people's blood pressures up. If the blood pressures are going up, now we're entering into a whole other phase of, and I've seen it on your website, strokes. You get a high enough blood pressure over time, you're wearing away the vessels in your brain.
Right.
So here we're being exposed to these toxins that are wearing us down little by little. And so in the last few months, I have started to detox. I am taking these detox preparations and researching things, and I'm feeling a lot better. So it can be done.
It can be done. And also, what about aneurysms, the buildup of nanoparticle aluminum in capillaries?
Oh, God, yes. And then there's that.
Right. Those are a couple of the largest things that I've found. And on a side note, Rob, I'm watching the chat, let me know if my mic is still overmodulating. I spent the last couple hours trying to get our audio system set up here because I never got it finished. So I hope it's all sounding okay on the other end. So let me know, Rob. I appreciate your input. Yes. After they started spraying, the big things that I saw start happening. So much so that people were emailing me going, oh my God, what is going on? Strokes, aneurysms, heart attack, cancer, the big 4. Those 4 things exploded after the spraying started very heavily in the area where I lived.
I think when they finally come clean with this, and I think they are, they're having these global conferences. They're talking about weather modification. They're talking about global warming. The problem is that they are off base with why we are warming. But once they start coming clean with this, they're going to have to pass some kind of a law to prevent everybody from filing class action suits, because there is so much evidence people have been documenting about these health issues. There is no way the government's going to be able to pay everybody. I mean, look at the fund that they have for vaccine reactions. They don't want to come clean that vaccines might actually cause problems, so they have this fund that people don't even know about, broadly, to buy people off, basically. Well, your child has suffered this reaction. Here, have some money. That's what they're going to have to do, because the health problems directly related to this are huge. And I think, and I don't want to monopolize this whole show, because other people have to say things too, but I really want people to clearly, channel your inner warrior, channel your inner 60s hippie, channel something where you make yourself heard. Don't tell them that you don't know what, tell them write your congressman. You're going to get some scripted little thing back, But you know what? If you keep telling them, the EPA is going to come out and say, well, we've never heard, no one's complained about this. This is brand new to us. You know what? I cry foul to that. And so the more of us that write in, the more of us that document, I think they have to notice. It's,
I think we're going to be shocked. I totally agree with you, and I think we're going to be, that people are going to be absolutely shocked at the number of officials who totally know about this. They completely know that this is going on. They've been instructed to pretend that they don't know. They've been instructed to pretend that nobody else has complained because they don't want people to feel like there's any power numbers happening, that there is any awakening happening, but there is. And I totally agree with you that not only do we have to notify these people, but we also have to tell our neighbors. We have to get out and wake the public up. I believe that if we just simply, I know a lot of people have gone out there and they've had this experience where they've told people and they've been rejected or ridiculed or just disbelieved. Their family doesn't believe them and so on and so forth. But I truly believe, and this is really important, if people simply got out there and told the entire public, we would have enough people wake up within a few weeks' time to completely turn this thing around. There are enough people who have enough common sense that once they hear this and they look up in the sky and they suddenly, and I've heard from so many people that this has happened to, they go, I thought something was going on, but I didn't know for sure. I didn't make the connection, and now that you said that, it just clicked. I get it, because it does correlate with my symptoms. I do smell and taste something in the air, but I never paid attention to it. And so that not only do we need to be notifying our public officials, but we also have to be waking up our fellow citizens and people all around the world.
On a daily basis, I talk to the people I work with. I went into a supplement store the other day, and I was talking to the woman, and she asked me why I was looking for diatomaceous earth. And I told her why. And I thought, well, here, I'm going to get hit with some kind of a crazy look. And she said, I've noticed those lines in the skies. And I said, I'm thinking, here's my opportunity. I can educate one more person, because I believe she was the owner of the store. And I said, people are going to come in here, and they're going to be looking for things because the word is getting out, and this is a list of things that they're going to want to look for. The people at work that used to look at me like I was crazy are listening. I can tell you that if I were to think about and start writing down names of people that have become aware, discussed it. I don't have to get militant about it, but I do believe that one by one, people are waking up, and it's like dominoes. I posted something several weeks ago, and I think I might try to find it and repost it again, where I was having a down day, and my daughter showed me a page out of her psychology book. And it talked about these psychologists that were doing studies on why a minority of people could affect a change in society. And if you get this small number of people, which we are essentially, but we're growing, a small number of people that stay on point and keep talking and don't stray from the message, it starts to affect masses.
Yes.
And we can do it. And so everybody out there, please make yourself heard. Write your congressman, write the EPA, call the FAA, do what you have to do. If we all do it, they have to take notice.
That's right, and also contribute. There's billboard projects that are going on, and let me just divert for a second here. Rob, I appreciate your help. You are an audio technical guy. Let me know if my mic is still overmodulating, because we're still working on getting the sound right. Donate to billboard projects. If you want a program where you can do emailings from your PC, I wrote one. It's one that I use myself. I'll give it to you if you want to do this. If you want help with websites or whatever, you want to duplicate DVDs, we have people that will help you and train you on how to do that. But we just need people to be willing to just put a little bit of time, even if it's 10 minutes a day. But we've got to wake up people and do something about this. This is, Kathy, and I'm telling people this without apology, because I smell and taste this, and I feel the effects of this in my health. It has ruined my health. That this is the largest crime against humanity that we have ever experienced. And the people who are going through this right now, the people who are living during this time, it is up to you. It is your responsibility. It's our responsibility together to do something. And I know you all know this, and probably some of us who are involved in the movement always, you might get a little tired of hearing this all the time, but it really, really is the truth. And when you realize the power that you have to affect change, you know, think about this for a second. What would you do today if you knew that whatever you embarked on, it was impossible to fail? What would you do? If we have enough people doing this, they will back down. They will be exposed. The largest crime against humanity will be stopped. I believe that, but there has to be enough people working in unison. We're at a disadvantage because we have a government that works in unison. You know, there's a pyramidal hierarchical structure to the government, and they work in unison. The military-industrial complex works in unison, but the public doesn't. The public is divided. But what would happen if we worked in unison? It would be impossible to fail. So I just want to encourage people, do it. Get involved in a small group, form a small group, raise awareness about this, and it will be impossible to fail. And don't worry about being, this is the other thing, is people often, Kathy, ask me about, they worry about being targeted. And I tell them, you're already targeted. They don't spray known poisons and toxins and herbicides and glyphosate and all of this garbage on the public thinking it's going to keep you alive. You're already targeted. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. This is really happening, and you are living through it. Kathy, thoughts?
Well, you know, if you know you're going to die,
and we all know we are all going to die. We're all going to die.
We are all going to die. I see it on a daily basis. Some people have long lives, some people have short lives, but we are all going to die. But this atrocity that they are inflicting on us right now is killing us faster. You know, and if, let's say you know that it's going to take, you know, you look at your situation with your cardiac issues, and I've seen your picture. I don't think you're very old, you know, and it's like Russ must know that this is killing him faster than if he'd never been exposed to it. So, given the fact that we are being exposed, they are killing us. What would you do to keep yourself alive? And you know, somebody said to me the other day, well, you know, what if they're going to send the black SUVs and, you know, you're going to get yourself killed, Kathy? It's like, well, you know what? No one's killed Russ Tanner yet. No one's killed Dane Wigington yet. You know, so I must not be that big a threat. I'm just your average person with a vocal voice. You know, so what would you do to save your life? And if saving your life meant speaking up, how hard is that? It's not that hard.
It's not,
you know,
and it's extremely rewarding,
to go out
too.
And stand in front of a firing squad.
That's right. It's extremely rewarding because, and I've heard this from everybody who's gone out with a sign or everybody who's written letters or everybody who's sent out emails, they talk about how incredibly rewarding it is, how incredibly good it feels to actually to express your power, to actually be able to feel like you're doing something. So, and what you're saying too about what would you do to stay alive, you have to understand that these people don't care about you. They don't care about you. They would just assume that you die. You know, and this is part of what I believe their eugenic and depopulation. When you understand how these people think, you realize that they don't want you here. And it's kind of like you're in a war that you don't realize is even going on. You know, and I'm not saying go out and be violent. I'm not promoting violence. But I'm saying when you stand up and you show that you're not going to take it, that they will back down. And it doesn't have to be this way. The power that the individual people have when they get together and coordinate their efforts is tremendous. Well,
I got my lawn sign in the mail today. I ordered one of your Russ Tanner lawn signs.
Oh, good.
And what I'm going to do, because I live out on a country road, is I'm going to get one of those little boxes that they have that the real estate people put flyers in. I'm going to put flyers in there. And if people stop and take a flyer, that's great. And I'm just ramping up. I am just getting my energy going. I've printed off some of the things to go out and have flyers printed up. I'm going to do that on my own dime. You know, I'm not a rich person. I'm a single mom. But you know what? What price paying to save your life, to save the life of your children? It's a small investment the way I look at it. My time, a little bit of money. And I saw your thing about getting help for billboards, and that's my next project. I'm going to start looking into that, seeing how I can do that. You know, I'm just getting off the ground here, so...
That's good. I'm so glad that somebody with passion calls in. And everybody who's out there, listen, this is your life. Your life was given to you. Your body was given to you and put in your custody. It is yours, and it's the only one you have. You are writing the legacy of your life right now with every day that you live and everything that you do. This is your legacy, and this is your life. Please take it seriously and don't let the apathetic lithium and other substances that are inducing this feeling of apathy control you or change you. Use your head. Don't work on your emotions purely. Use your head and realize what's going on here and act accordingly. Well, Kathy, you still there?
Yeah.
Well, good. I'd love to have someone else jump in with us too, but you've been wonderful. I appreciate that you're using herbs to change your life. I especially appreciate that. So is any final things you'd like to say?
Nope, that's it. Thanks for the soapbox, and thanks for the good work. And everybody out there, get going.
Thank you.
Don't let them intimidate you. You just keep on going.
They are the ones who are looking over your shoulders. They are the ones who are afraid. They are the ones who are committing the largest crime against humanity in human history. Nothing that's ever happened in history comes close to this. I smell it and taste it as I sit here at my desk, and it makes me so mad because my health has been reduced to 25% of my health, my vitality. I live in chronic pain because of it. I mitigate it with herbs and with diet, but I still have to suffer, and I don't have the incredibly wonderful and vibrant health that I would have if it weren't for this spraying. So thank you, Kathy, for all your kind words and your wisdom, and thank you for getting a yard sign and all that you do. Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome.
All right, have a good night. Anybody else who wants to call in? I see people on the panel. I'm going to call on you in just a second. Go to globalskywatch.com, get a yard sign, get a bumper sticker. If you want to print up yard signs yourself and have them shipped to you by the quantities of 10 or 20, I'll give you the design. I'll work out something with you. I don't make money on them. I don't care about the money. I want the spraying to stop so we can all get on with our lives and I can get on with my health. I don't make money. I lose money from this, and I'm doing this because I'm upset about it, and I feel that I have to. Being that someone who smells and tastes this, I have to raise my voice. Who else do we have on here? Looks like we've got Kim. I think Rob is on with us. Let's see. Let me see if I can get Kim and Rob. Hang on. And somebody asked on the chat room how long the show is. As long as we want it to be. So let me see if Kim is with us. And Rob, if you're with us, hang on the line too. And I want to have you on, and anyone else who wants to speak up. Kim, are you there?
Hi, yes. Hi, how are y'all doing tonight?
Good. Good.
Except for the spraying, of course.
Except for the spraying. I'm sitting here smelling it. I'm sitting here tasting it. They haven't hit us. They haven't hit us with the super bad stuff tonight yet. Usually it's 7:30 to 10. But this might be the mild week. Usually we have 2 rough weeks and a mildish week, unless a front is coming in. That's usually the pattern I've noticed for quite a while now. So what's happening, Kim?
Oh yeah, and always before it rains, man. Oh my God. You see the sky just loads up with planes. It's like, yep, I'll be out there with my little one. She's 9 years old now, and I'll be out there just doing my thing out in the public, and I'll point up, and I'll just be like, there you go, baby girl, there goes 2 right now. They're going right over us. And then I'll make sure that I'm within earshot of somebody, and I'll say, yep, it's going to rain tonight.
Exactly.
And every once in a while, I do get somebody that'll turn around and they'll look at me and they'll be like, what? I go, yeah, anytime it's going to rain, look up. If you want to know, is it going to rain tonight or tomorrow morning, look up. And you'll see planes going by every 15 or 20 minutes, and you'll see them.
Here it is, Kim. In fact, I'm going to tell people right now, I told you a little earlier, I said, everyone, because I smell and taste it, I know the pattern. 7:30 to 10 o'clock every night is when they hit us with that really, really nasty stuff that makes the makes the veins just stick out of my arms, makes my heart hurt, gives me joint and muscular pain, and guess what? It's hitting right now. I'm beginning to taste it right now. It's just starting to hit us, and it's just about 10 o'clock. This is the way it happens. Basically, every night they hit us within that range of time. And this stuff they hit us with at night is horrible. And in fact, last week or earlier this week, I can't remember which day it was, might have been Monday or I don't know, within the last week, they hit us so hard. It was the worst spray day we have had in, I'd say, for probably almost maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years. Absolutely unbelievable, and it makes me think that if you called the hospital, I wonder how many people came in with heart attacks, joint pain, headaches, thought they were having a heart attack, strokes, aneurysms. I wonder how many people went into the hospital. And if you go in Bangor, it seems like that's the only business that is growing by leaps and bounds. They just put in a big huge multi-level parking garage. It's beautiful. It's all finished with fine stone, and then now they have scaffolding up all outside. I'm talking about the Maine, Eastern Maine Medical Center. I drive past it every so often. Scaffolding up on the side. They're doing work and refinishing it, and maybe working some of the wings. Boy, they're putting a lot of money into that. Business is booming in the health department.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, people are getting sick. I just happen to be in an inner city area right now where I'm living at, and there are 2 hospitals in our area. There's a huge cardiac center that was just built. We have a cancer treatment center. There's so many doctors' offices and nursing homes here. It's like everybody goes to school and graduates, and you're going to graduate and you're going to be a CNA or a nurse or a doctor, because that's what there is for work around here.
Yeah.
And on the heavier spray days, when I don't always notice it at first. First thing I do is I want to know, if it's going to rain, when it's going to rain. So I'll just stand there and I'll look at the sky and I'll be like, okay, that's disgusting. I'll come in, I'll look at weather maps, and sure enough, there's a small storm cell heading into our state, and I'll be like, yep, so it looks like they're going to try to get us ready for a good storm.
That's right. That's another pattern I've noticed. I will tell people that's another pattern. They lead the storms. I can tell you about 12 hours before a storm is coming in, we will get slammed really hard. I don't even have to look outside. I can tell you, and this has been like this for years now, I can tell you without even looking outside, I can say, there's a front coming, because they are really killing us right now. I can smell it, the particular type that they spray really, really hard, and they'll do it out of time. It's not just the 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. time slot. They'll be doing it for 12 straight hours. So when it starts happening earlier than it should or outside that window, I know, and I literally do this, I go on the weather radar and I will see, of course, there's that front coming in. It never fails. And I've heard this from people all across the United States. Oh,
absolutely. There's a nickname that some friends of mine have. I'm one of the avid weather watchers, because I've always been an outdoor person, and that's what got me interested, is what is going on. Every time it rains, there's 50 million planes flying over. Gee, it's not a holiday. After a while, you start putting things together if you're into weather, which I am. And we call that land locking, L-A-N-D, locking. And what they do is they will form grid patterns on the east side of the storm. So in New England, let's say Maine and New Hampshire will get the living crap sprayed out of them, while New York and Vermont currently has a rainstorm. So they'll spray the living crap out of it, and what that does is it prevents it or slows it down from moving offshore. So it landlocks it literally. It slows down the front, and it just kind of gives it the chance to do the most rain and the most.
And you can see this happening, right, Kim? I mean, you can watch satellite and you can see it happen like clockwork, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. That's kind of, I started getting curious. I'm like, what is all this? Looks like it's going to rain. So I'll come in, look at my resources, and there'll be no rain whatsoever. Because you can look at, depending on what you have, for places that you look at for stuff like this, you can look at just clouds, and then you can look at clouds and precipitation. So you'll see all the gray matter, which is going to be your clouds, and then you see all the green. All the green stuff is going to be where water should be coming down. And you're looking at your state, and your state is is almost completely covered in white and gray. But when you go outside and you're standing in your driveway or standing on the sidewalk and you look up, you would swear to God that there was rain there, that like it is smoky, it's hazy, it's hanging low, it's looking like it's literally dropping and dripping in areas, and it looks like you're either getting rained out or about to get rained out, or it looks like there's a brush fire somewhere.
That's right. I've seen this. Yeah, I've seen this so many times, and I will tell you, as somebody who can smell and taste it, I'm going to tell you right now that when you're looking at streetlights, for instance, at night, and you'll see this haze around the streetlight, and most people just write it off and think, oh, that's just moisture. It takes a lot of moisture in order to form a haze around a streetlight, and I learned over the years how much moisture you would feel in the air and correlate that with the type of haze. What happened, and you have this haze all the time now, and the air is dry, it's crisp, or it's just mildly moist, not nearly enough to put a haze. These are the particulates that you're breathing. This also happens on television. I wrote an article called the Magenta Halos, is that when you look at lights that are shined in the camera online, you will see these artifacts, these hazy things, and this was not around years ago. This is a new phenomenon in the last 10 years that shows up on every show, on commercials. You'll see these artifacts, and most people don't notice them, but if you look, you'll see them. What is this? This is the light reflecting off the particulates that's being picked up by the camera. So look at the other thing is I was in Philadelphia a few weeks ago and saw some vistas, went to a park and saw vistas. Here we are, beautiful dry weather, daylight, should be crystal clear, you should have 30-mile unobstructed visibility. What do you see? Haze, terrible haze. Where is all this coming from? It's all coming from the spraying.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just to give you a quick example, guys, I'm looking at the state that I'm in right now. I'm seeing one pretty decent-sized storm cell. It's red and orange and yellow, meaning it's very hot with green on the outside. There's a really small one and then a medium-sized one. And the odd thing is, it's not covering the whole entire state, but when I look at where the actual water that is possibly going to hit the ground is at, I see a massive amount of clouds surrounding that all the way from Canada all the way down over the ocean. And there's no rain in 75% of this cloud mass. So that tells me that why is there intense, massive clouds over, I'm looking at Maine, New England, northern New England, Maine, Canada, northern Vermont, and northern New Hampshire, and it's this massive cloud formation with all these mini cells in it. And this is one way, if you look at this on a regular basis, you can see that there's multiple storm cells that are being heated up, and they're trying to connect them together to get a more massive system. It is very possible that this is happening.
Absolutely. And you know the thing, just a couple of things to help people understand all the stuff that's going on. And Rob, if you're still on, I'd love to have you on here too. Call in if you're not already in the console. And also give me a little reading on if you don't mind. I'd appreciate what you've been doing. If I'm over-modulating, let me know. Unfortunately, I have no way of monitoring my modulation right now. So if you can let me know in the chat, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. The other thing is, you can do so many things by controlling the amount of nucleation particles in the air. If you have too many condensation nuclei, little tiny particles that moisture will gather around in the air, if you have too many, meaning you hypernucleate the air, there's not enough moisture in the air to form around any one particle to make it become a raindrop. So what you do is you can keep this moisture in the air. So essentially you can hypernucleate off the west coast of California, divert the moisture over, and make it all fall in the Midwest. What have we seen happen in the last several years? And when it's finally brought into the public eye that this has been going on, and do you know how many people died and suffered, how much damage is being done in California, how much damage was done in the Midwest because of this hypernucleation, because of them steering the moisture and the jet stream the way that they do. And this is not me making this up. This comes right off of the official websites. Of course, it's been scrubbed now, but years ago I saw it. When you're doing this and the damage comes out in the public eye, imagine what's going to happen. Actually, I see Rob. Rob's going to call in. Audio is good now. Thank you for that, Rob. I appreciate that. Rob, why don't you call in? Let's have you in now. Kim, any events coming up? Any final words you want to share with us? And also, do you want to talk about your work with the Global Skywatch Facebook group? People who want to come come to our Facebook group. We have 35,000 people. Come to Facebook /Global Skywatch Chemtrails. I don't even remember what the URL is right now. But go ahead. Let us know whatever you want to say, Kim. It's all yours.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yes, working with such a large group of people has been both a challenge and an honor for me, because I have met some really amazing people over the last couple of years, working with the different moderators that volunteer on a daily basis, or whenever they're in. They read the page, they see stuff that just doesn't look right, they report the post to admin. There's now a feature now, if you're in a group, no matter what group you're in, if something's wrong, there's a feature on a discussion, you can click it, report it to the admins, and so when the admins log in, they log into the main page, they immediately get an alert, we can take care of it right away. And I'm just so thankful that we've got some members that have just really been with us for the long haul. I mean, they have seen troll attacks, they have seen people that just come in just for the sake of arguing and just making a ruckus, and they've handled people respectfully, their own selves. They sometimes not know if something is going the right way, and they might message me or one of the other administrators, and I think that the group is really rounding up to be a fellowship. It's become a hub where people can come and discuss the issues with geoengineering, weather modification, climate change.
And learn. If you have somebody who doesn't know about this, who wants to learn, bring your friends, bring your family. Come on, ask honest questions, and you'll get some good data.
Yeah, and we've had members where, they've been so interested and so long as they'll help other members out. Like they won't wait for an administrator to jump in and drop some data. They'll actually participate, and they'll say, yeah, I researched this and this is what I've learned. And then people that are just right off the bat, brand new, woke up today, and they're like, what is going on? And they come in and they're curious, they're mad as hell, and I feel that I have the patience to talk to these new friends and help them get an understanding of what's going on, and understand that, I was once there myself saying, what the hell is going on, and not wanting to believe what's happening. And, it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes working with each other. It takes tolerance. I know you've mentioned this, Russ, many times when you've welcomed new members, is having tolerance of each other, the learning curves, knowing that we were all at a different place before we were at the place that we're at now, and we're only going to grow and become better and more aware of what's happening. And just want to encourage people that, if you're not into Facebook, I think it's a great place for you to go and share your thoughts and share your experiences, upload photos. But we also have the Global Skywatch website, and at the website there are forums that are a little more stationary. So you can go in and you can start a discussion, and it stays right where it is. You can go there every day, check on comments and replies, add pictures, whatever you want. It's a little bit different than a Facebook news feed. Because in a Facebook news feed, it's constantly moving.
Yeah, it kind of rolls off the bottom. Yeah, it rolls off the bottom. Yeah. But in the forum on Global Skywatch, go to the forum, the public forum. You can make posts, and they'll be there for years and years and years. And it's good because you can have good reference material, good information, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I really want to encourage people, come to globalskywatch.com, click the Facebook icon at the very top, join our Facebook group, and help get your friends there. Kim, if you don't mind, I think Rob is online and he's got limited time. If you want to stay on, I can have you back on in a few minutes after we get a couple other people on if you want to.
I'll mute the mic and I'll keep listening, guys.
All right, perfect.
Thanks, Rob. Good chatting with you, and can't wait to hear what you have to say, my friend. Talk to you later, guys.
Yes, okay. We'll talk to you in a few minutes, Kim. We'll get some other callers on here, too. Kim is absolutely priceless, who's been with us from the beginning in running the Facebook group, which is a tireless, difficult job. I get messages all the time from people who are angry or they don't like the fact that they've been banned because they were mean, or they whatever, or they're shills or trolls, or somebody's insulted them. It's, can you imagine trying to manage a group of 35,000 people in it? But Kim and I and another group, the rest of the admins, if you're listening, I'd love to have you call in, tell us, make announcements about upcoming events, tell us what's going on, just chat with us. Okay, Rob, are you online with us?
Hello, Russ. How you been?
There you are. Good to hear from you. It's been a long time, Rob. I've been hanging in there trying to stay alive. What about you?
Is this your first webcast in a while?
This is the first one in a while. I'm going to try to keep it going, and possibly in a few minutes in this webcast and in future ones, we're going to get into some deeper stuff. Who are the people doing this? What do they believe? Why are they doing this? What does the future hold? Because the future is coming up upon us very, very quickly.
Well, I really do enjoy your more esoteric meanderings, so I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. That's my favorite stuff. That's my favorite subject, because let me tell you, everybody who's listening to this, you are going to see things in your life that you never dreamed. We are on the brink of paradigm changes, and I'm not talking about some kind of wonderful evolution into some kind of higher spirithood that is being promoted by those who are paid by the New World Order, or who are trying to promote that for their own purposes, and I will get into that later. I'm talking about stuff I'll bring up in a few minutes, but we're all going to live through it.
Alex Jones, it says in the last year or two, he frequently says something like, "Well, I don't necessarily believe in this stuff, but these guys that are running the world, they really believe this stuff." When he's talking about the rituals, like, for instance, 9/11, which woke me up. Some people refer to it as the mega ritual.
Right. That's the thing. That's the thing. Is that that's the most fascinating thing that I get into in my studies, because I want answers. I wanted to learn the truth in the 80s. I started saying, what is going on in the world? I don't understand all this stuff. It doesn't make sense. I started researching, and let me tell you, seek and ye shall find. When I started researching, my eyes were opened. My worldview completely transformed in 2 years, and I started to understand what was really going on in the world. And yes, I agree with you, Rob, 100%. And the most interesting subject to me, Rob, is what is going on inside these people's minds. Why are they doing this? And that is absolutely fascinating, and it will make you shake in your boots.
Yeah, I've always been interested in metaphysics and spirituality my whole life. And I'm 64 now. When I was about 18, I came across a book by a Tibetan monk who explained his training as a lamasery in Tibet, at the Potala in Tibet. And those guys are really into a lot of deep stuff, like astral travel, the astral body. And so these guys, these bad guys, they work the dark side. It's all metaphysics. It can be either good or bad. It just depends on how you use it. And they're invoking demonic forces, demons, and their rituals strengthen these demons, these demonic forces. At least they believe so, and I'm inclined to agree with that from what I've seen. Before I forget, I want to ask you something. I saw several months ago. I noticed in some of the chemtrails there's like a shadow. Have you ever seen that? I don't know if just I saw that, or it's like a dark.
Oh, absolutely! I've seen that.
Line.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah. These things are particulate trails. They do cast shadows. If the sun is low on the horizon, they'll cast a shadow up on the clouds above. If the sun is high, it can cast shadow downward on clouds or on the ground. If there's a heavy haze in the air, which is most of the time, you can see the shadow cutting through the sky. So it causes some very dramatic effects. Sometimes these shadows do.
Yeah. Okay, it's got to be a shadow. It's just like another trail right next to the one. It's just like a shadow, but I didn't necessarily see what it was being cast upon. But that's just something strange that I couldn't figure out. But these the local weather guys, right? I frequently call these guys up, or they'll be announcing the weather and say, "You weather watchers, call in and let us know if you see any interesting weather pictures." And I just love that because I've got plenty of good pictures for them, but unfortunately they don't show my pictures. And
yeah.
Then they've got these other, they show these other citizens who are out there. One guy's got an entire weather station out in his backyard, and I often think to myself, what is wrong with these guys? And the one local weather guy, actually responded to one of my questions with one. He responded once. He said, "How do you tell the difference between chemtrails and contrails?" And I just said, "You're supposed to be a meteorologist, dude. You're asking me?"
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into a little bit of it. I said, "There's plenty." I gave him some links. I think I gave him a link to your website because your website is probably one of the best sources of information around. But here it is, 12 years later, after I first woke up, and I don't know. My roommate sees him, and he's always saying, "Hey, they were spraying today," but he doesn't seem particularly disturbed by it. And other people seem to be catching on, but I think the attitude amongst most people is, well, we can't really do anything about it anyway, so...
Well, see, that really gets under my skin because the two excuses, almost all excuses, come down to two things.
Yeah.
You can't know anything, and you can't do anything. And both things are lies. People love to deceive themselves, and we learn this. Rob, people learn this as children, that the way you get out of responsibility is what? I didn't know. That's what you say. When mommy and daddy come and say, "Hey, what were you doing?" "Oh, I didn't know." Or you say, "Oh, there's nothing I could do." People as adults carry that mechanism with them for avoiding responsibility and say, "Oh, well, there's no way to know. There's not." If you wanted to know, you could know. If you really cared, you could do something. But that's what people tell themselves because they don't want responsibility. And it's a very sad state of affairs, but that's why we are where we are, is because people have been willfully ignorant so long and willfully apathetic or drugged through fluoride and mercury that it also contributes for so long that they don't do anything. And this is where it leads us, to this point where we have these evil people, these people who don't care about human life, spraying us with toxins. That's where this leads us to. So here we are.
Well, isn't it ironic that most people have heard the saying of if you don't remember history, you're doomed to repeat it. But that doesn't seem to be making much difference either.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's the thing, is that, this is another thing I say all the time. I've said this for years. People say, education is the key. We just have to teach them. We just have to teach them. It's not that education is the key. Yes, education is important. Yes, education is critical, but it's not the key, because apathy is the problem, because selfishness is the problem. It's a moral problem. That is the problem. They don't care. They don't want responsibility. They don't want to know. They want to do what they want to do without having to take responsibility. We should have a world today where we are involved in our government. We are our government. We are actively involved in the paving of the roads. I'm not saying we're out there slinging hammers all the time, but we are involved in the processes that make up government processes, so that there is accountability, so that there's a sense of responsibility that we're all doing this. But people just want to say, well, I want to pay my taxes and go play video games all day long. And that doesn't work. That leads us to this place where we are. We have to be willing to put part of our life back into the system, into our community, and not be selfish and not be willfully ignorant. Sorry I'm ranting, but go ahead, Rob.
Can you still hear me?
Yep, you're still on, Rob. Go ahead.
I got cut off to call back.
Oh, sorry about that. I got on a little rant. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're almost quiet in the car now on the radio. You could come up a little bit.
I could come up.
But,
Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I appreciate your help with that. It's hard for me to tell on this end.
But, I haven't been doing my show for several months either, so maybe it's time to get back up on the saddle, you know. I noticed that Ron Paul, now this is a kind of a real signpost to me of some significance, that Ron Paul would come out with a commercial on TV, and they're showing it quite a lot about this impending financial disaster that I've been talking about for 8 to 10 years. So you've probably seen it. I've never seen anybody do anything like that. And he's coming out saying, folks, you better get your eggs all in one basket, or, you know, make sure you're well, he's pitching for Porter Stansberry or whatever that guy is. But anyway, he came out with a commercial that's all over the TV now, warning people about the imminent financial collapse, which to me, very straight. It's very significant. So we might be something big might be happening here pretty soon.
Yeah, I do think that, and this is part of the reason why I've started this show up again, because I have a real conviction inside me that we are on the brink. I've spoken for a while now. The people close to me know that I've spoken for a while about the end of 2015, and I base this on some of the elite's literature. Their own literature speaks of the very critical points in upcoming history are the year 2017 and 2019. And so 3 to 3.5 years before 2017 is going to be a very critical time, and likewise before 2019. So I believe that it's very likely, I'm not making a hard prediction because you can't, but based on the literature, their own literature, I think that the fall and winter of this year is going to be the beginning of the long spiral downward. So hold on tight, get ready, because I think we are on the brink. And I have not said this before. This is the first time I've said this. I had people calling me when it was by the year 2K glitch, and they were packing up canned goods and doing it. I said, don't worry, this is nothing. This is just hype and media hype and other fear mongering. But I believe we are on the brink now, Rob. I believe we are on the brink.
Yeah, you were right about the 2012. I got sucked into that myself, but that was, I think, manufactured. That was some hype that was manufactured, I believe, largely. It
was manufactured. Stitchin is not telling people the truth about the Mayan calendar. A lot of people caught on to the lies that were being told. They were misinterpreting the hieroglyphs, and we found that they were lying. And this is part of what they do, is they desensitize people by crying wolf over and over and over again until people don't pay attention anymore. And that's exactly what they've been doing. But I think we're on the brink now, Rob.
Yeah, listen, I want you to get into some of your solo act. Get into some of the metaphysics and some of the deeper stuff. I love that stuff.
I will. That's the stuff I want to talk about, because there's a great deception coming on this world, and it is here already. People are being sucked into a great lie, and it is carrying people away into a place where they can't figure out what's going on. So I am definitely, Rob, going to be getting into that stuff. If not tonight, our next show, we're going to be really getting into what goes on in the heads of these people, what they are doing, what they think, what's going to happen, and how to avoid the great deception that's already coming upon us. And the deception is huge. Hollywood is involved. The music industry is involved. And the elites have orchestrated this stuff. And it is a combination of the industrial bankers and their spiritual cohorts, which, when you start looking at the spiritual side, I did a show with Hans Wellers a while back. Hans is a great friend, great guy who is helping to raise awareness about many issues. And I called it the spiritual side of chemtrails. And there is a spiritual element to this that people do not realize. And it will become apparent.
Yes. Listen, you go for it. Do me a favor. Keep doing your show, and I'll get back on the saddle and do mine again.
You got it. Hey, why don't you tell us where people can see it when they hop on, or else come back and tell us when you get it going. But your show was great. News with Blues. You had some great guitar looks. I'm a fan of watching good players play. I love watching great great musicians. You did a great job. Tell people about it.
Oh, thanks, Russ. News and Blues. It's on Portland's community television network, Channel 5, and sometimes on the Channel 2 on the Time Warner cable. So the last show that I had on there was that Cliff Carnicum video, the one where he opens up and talking about the sky out west, the big sky, how beautiful and deep blue it used to be, and just a great film that he did. I think you played part of it today on your where you were testing. That's an excellent film that Cliff did.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing I did, because geoengineering is, of course, one of my big things, and all this other stuff too, like forced inoculation. It's unbelievable. Jerry Brown signed into law. I guess if you want your kids to go to public school, they have to be inoculated. And this is tyranny. I mean, this is stone cold tyranny.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. This is your body. This is not their body. This is your body. You have the rights to make these decisions. Boy, I could go on and about that. But you're right. Yeah, Rob.
So
absolutely.
thanks for the talk, and I'll see you around the block.
News with Blues. Is there any place they can go to see old episodes, Rob?
News and Blues. Well, there's a couple of them on YouTube, but I got to catch up.
You know what we got to do? We got to get those shows up on a place where they're all streaming. I mean, get them all up there. We got to talk and see if we can get them all up, because you've got great information in those shows.
Here's the trouble is that I take a lot of YouTube videos from other people, and a lot of it's they're calling copyright protection on everything nowadays, and mostly that 90% of that is all about censorship. But anything that's been created by somebody else, there's a way to call copyright protection on it. So I've been hit with that quite a bit. So I got to get around that somehow. But it'll be on the. Regardless, it's always on the cable access. That's how Alex Jones started out, after all. So
Portland, Maine. News and Blues. Portland, Maine. Open cable access.
Maine. Channel 5, CTN 5.
Well, come on. Well, come on and let us know every time you come out with an episode. Let's get people watching that. You had great information. Good stuff. Thank you, Rob, for doing that.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, you take care of yourself. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm glad to hear from Rob again. It's been too long since I've talked to him. Dina, you're on the phone with us. What's going on?
Hi, Russ.
Hi.
I live out here in Spokane, Washington, and I run the Spokane, Washington Climate Engineering Watch Facebook page. And I'm also a digital imager, so I've designed a lot of bumper stickers and brochures. So if anybody wants some PDF files for that, they're more than welcome to ask me for those.
Plug your website.
It's Spokane WA Climate Engineering Watch, and that's on Facebook.
.com or it's a group. It's a group. Okay. Do you have any
place? It's just a Facebook page.
Gotcha. I've seen your images. You do great work. You make memes. You're obviously very good with digital imaging work. Nice stuff. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I got a question for you because, I don't know, different areas if they use different planes, but out here in the Northwest, I notice a lot of Delta planes being used. And I'm not sure if, Delta is selling their planes or if they're contracting the pilots. But a lot of these flights that they're doing with Delta planes do not look like commercial flights.
Well, yeah, let me just say this is when you have all the money in the world, there's no limit to the deception that you can pull on people. Back in the early 90s when I got involved with a small political party in Florida, we started learning about how people were getting jobs or going into libraries, checking out books, and never returning them because they had information about freedom, individual liberties, and this campaign was going on, or they were bringing in books with false information that were prematurely aged. They were artificially aged. This is the type of deception that goes on, and this is very real. This is not what the party I was involved with was doing, but they were exposing other groups that were doing this. And I say that to say this, is that when you see commercial planes leaving trails, they may not be commercial planes at all. They may be painted to be commercial planes, or they may be commercial planes that are being leased. Just because they have a paint job on them that looks like a commercial paint job doesn't mean they're commercial at all. And in fact, I predicted this years ago. I said this is one of the things they're going to do, is they're going to try. I saw YouTube videos way back in 2005 where they were trying to convince people these were contrails, and they are not, because high bypass turbofans do not leave trails. Period. Short, long, they don't leave trails, and I will say that till my dying day. And I know there's people out there saying, well, they can leave short trails only if they're SPAY 512s, only if they're water injection, and even then very, very rarely and only at altitudes too high to be seen from the ground. Having said that, you can't believe anything that you see, because when you have all the money in the world, you can paint these jets to look like commercial jets and fool the public, because there's no limit to the power. There's no limit to the money they have to spend. And when I saw a video back in 2005 of a commercial jet pulling up beside another jet, and somebody was videotaping through the window this jet that looked like it was all painted like a Delta or American Airlines jet, spewing these big trails, and this person was saying, oh, look at the contrails in this commercial jet. See, they're just contrails. And this is all to fool the public, because when do you have commercial jets pull up within a few hundred feet of another jet outside of the window? When do you see this kind of thing happen? I've watched the sky all my life. I've flown, especially when I was younger, quite a bit. Never see this kind of thing happen. This is all disinformation. So I just tell people, if you see something painted like a commercial jet leaving a trail, you have no idea if it's commercial or military. You really don't know.
Yeah, and you answered my question. That's what I was wondering, And my partner, he was in the Air Force for years, and he knows that this is not right. He says that he never saw this, ever.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to pull up, if you're watching the live stream, we have video just so we can show you pictures and stuff, and I rarely use it, but here's the article on turbofans. Not leaving contrails, because they don't. I'm going to say that over and over and over again, because I'm so tired of people saying that these things, they don't leave enough condensation, and people get out. Okay, I'm going to go on a little tangent here for just a second, Dina. There are people, there are videos, there are videos, even high school professors and college professors who go out into the cold air and they breathe out, and you leave a little mist from your breath, and they say, see, that's what a contrail is. No, it's not, because the amount of water vapor in your breath is many times higher than the amount of water in the exhaust of a turbofan, high bypass turbofan engine. Your breath has so much moisture that you can go up to a window on a warm sunny day, breathe and exhale on the window, and it will leave moisture on the window. If you take a car or a piece of glass, and you can see many videos where where this has been done, where they blasted cars with jet exhaust, or they've had people standing in high-speed jet exhaust of 747s. You can blast it with as much power all day long, and you will see no moisture form on that glass. And the reason is because there's not enough moisture in that exhaust. That exhaust spews out spent carbon soot. You go to the airport, you will see carbon soot from burnt kerosene. The hydrocarbons leave black carbon soot. That's what you see. If you're looking at the live stream right now, the video, I put a picture of a little jet painted to look like Delta, in fact.
I see it.
Yeah,
yes.
This is a drone that has been painted, and the paint job isn't even good.
See if we can get this thing.
Let me play it. I'm going to mute it because we don't need the audio. But let's look at some clips of this. Look at the close-ups of the windows. Look how poorly that's painted on there. Now, from a distance, you'll not ever be able to tell, but they just put silver paint kind of blotched on there to look like windows on this little drone. This is a little drone. Look at the air. This is a small turbofan engine. Look at the small exhaust ports around the centerpiece there. This is not your typical turbofan that you'll see, a big powerful turbofan like a Pratt & Whitney or a GE that you'll see on the big commercial jets, 747s, DC-9s, A330s, 757s, 67s, all of those big Boeing jets. If you're looking at the live stream right now...
So do you think that they're deploying drones, or do you think they're still using aircraft?
I think that if they use drones, they're using them for specialized tactics where they might be, maybe they're doing something really, really potent in a specific area. Maybe they're doing some biologics. But the problem with drones is they don't have a big lift capacity. So you can't bring a whole bunch of stuff up. You need big jets for that. So if you're going to really, really, really leave a huge amount of material in the air, which is what we see with these trails, you've got to have a big jet that has the lift capacity for that. This little drone, you see it has Delta painted on it. It's got a fake door painted on it. It's got a fake windshield on the front. That's all fake. That door is fake. The Delta logo is all just painted on there horribly. They didn't even do a good job. Got call numbers and a colorful tail. This is a drone painted to look like a commercial jet. And from a distance, you won't be able to tell the difference. In fact, here, let me show you the opening picture. See this picture? You can hardly tell from a distance. But the giveaway would be to see the disproportionate size of the windshield, the disproportionate size of the engine, the landing gear. These kinds of things will give it away.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to bring up is, with social media, I've gotten to the point where, with some of the naysayers or some of the people that really want to get on and on these social media sites, mainly Facebook, and just start arguing with people, I just don't engage with them anymore. I just delete and ban. It's not even worth getting your blood pressure up over it. Most of these people, I believe that they're paid. It's already been proven that the government hires people to go on social media and other, blogs to try to rattle people's cages. And, my suggestion to everybody is just don't engage with them. It's not even worth it.
Totally agree. Ban them, get rid of them, leave them. Go to good. We need the salt of the earth. We need the good folks of the United States, of the people in Europe, the people who are being sprayed, who have children, who have loved ones, who have a conscience, who are normal people. These are the people that we need. If you have somebody being really rude, somebody having a foul mouth, insulting other people, or being brash, or attacking other people, we just get rid of them. We don't have time for that. We need people who are good, respectful to other people. I mean, we all come from different subcultures, and that's fine. We understand that. But there is a code of ethics that we all understand about treating people with respect and dignity, and that's what we look for. I totally agree with you, Dina. Yeah.
And there's just one more thing I wanted to say before I let you go. I'm out there all of the time, taking photographs, documenting. When I do, my face itches, my nose itches. When I wake up in the morning, because I have fans on, summertime, I feel like I have a cold every day. I'm tired, lethargic. But mostly I notice that when I'm out there doing all these photographs that, it's like my whole face and my nose itches really, really bad.
Me too. Many people, same thing. Go to globalskywatch.com, go to the left sidebar of the homepage, and I have my personal stories. I've got an article. I know you know about this already, Dina, but those who are watching, go to this right here. I'm showing it on the live stream where it says chemtrail types. Click on that. It's called the 8 major chemtrail types. Actually, added 2 more because there's 2 new ones in the last 4 years. Brand new types. Click this link that says go down to the types. Here they all are. Several of those cause us to be itchy. I get the same thing, Dina. Same thing here. All kinds of symptoms, but itchy skin, that's one of them. Yeah.
And I think, a lot of people, think they have allergies. And then, here we have all of these companies just, ramping up and selling all of these allergy medications, and that's not it. Yeah.
That's, this is the thing, is that I will tell you that I believe about 95% of the illness in the world today is artificially induced. So 200, and this is, now listen to what I'm about to say, everybody. Okay, I'm going to say this. I say this because I'm angry. I'm upset at the suffering. 200 of the most common diseases in the world today are induced by mercury. I said this, and a few years after I started saying this publicly, based on my own research, Hal Huggins came out and said it. I'm not saying he said it because I did. He did his own research, and Hal Huggins recently passed away. He's the one who did an invaluable amount of work exposing the dangers of mercury from amalgam dental fillings to the public, which I suffered with through my young life, had terrible emotional symptoms and physical symptoms from it, which I completely recovered from. 85% anyway, within 24 hours after my removal. 3 months later, everything symptom was gone that I ever had. Felt like Superman for 4.5 years until they started spraying. 200 of the most common diseases in the world today caused by mercury. Now, when people get their fillings removed, they don't have the miraculous recoveries that I had and other people have had before the spraying, because now we're all breathing all of this other stuff, and I believe mercury as well. We're finding mercury in soils, mercury in dust tests, mercury in rainwater tests, not to mention aluminum, barium, strontium, lead, cadmium, arsenic, all kinds of wonderful things. So much of the illness today is completely unnecessary, and one day the people are going to realize that 95% of the illness we have in the world today could have been prevented, but was induced artificially by toxicity and malnutrition.
Well, Russ, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking my call, and I hope that everybody does visit my page on Facebook. And again, that's Spokane, Washington, Climate Engineering Watch. And if you are a Washington resident, I would really hope that you sign the petition I have for our Senator Maria Cantwell and our Governor Jay Inslee to hold a public awareness forum to fully inform the state residents of the geoengineering programs that are going on.
Thank you, Dina. I hope everybody does that as well. Spokane, Washington Facebook group that you just mentioned, I hope people go there and support Dina. And I met you online not too long ago, and I've just seen you just do great work, turning out all kinds of great information, art and graphics. We need you. Thank you for what you do, Dina.
At any time, if you want to use those graphics for anything, or if you want me to provide, the PDF files for that so you can put them onto Global Skywatch, just ask me. I'll send them right to you.
Awesome. I'd love to do that. I do things as I have time, and I squeeze as much time out as I can, but I want to make that happen. So I will take you up on that as soon as I can squeeze that in. Thank you, Dina.
All right, Russ. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Have a good night. I appreciate people like Dina. I appreciate people like Kim, like Rob, like so many other people who do so much. Kathy was on earlier. I want to wrap the show up. 2 hours goes by very quickly, and I wanted to try to make the show shorter and shorter. I do want to make some quick announcements here that in the future I want to start the show off with announcements. I want this to be more and more like a meeting. We need to come together, spread information about events that are happening, projects that people are doing. I want this not to be a show so much as a meeting where we come together, share information so that we can coordinate the things we're doing, because coordination is the key. Without coordination, and we're all acting alone, we cannot do anything. We need to act together in a coordinated fashion so we can get things done, and we can help each other and utilize the specific skills we have to help other people. We need people to burn DVDs, we need people to make graphics, we need people to work on websites, we need people to use their computer skills to help us with other projects or programming. We could accomplish a lot if we were all working together. I do also want to say that in the future, every Monday night, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, we will be here. And anybody who wants to be on the show, call in, want to talk to you. And I want to get into the hard questions. How do we know that high bypass turbofans don't make trails? What are these people thinking who are doing the spraying? This is one of the most common questions that I get asked. What are they thinking? Where do they come from? What do they believe? People are learning that they have very specific spiritual beliefs, and they use those beliefs to justify crimes against humanity that have been heretofore unknown in human history, and we are suffering with them right now. Once again, I smell and taste this stuff in the air. It's getting more intense as I sit here. Here we go through another night. I'll be up until 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll be sleeping until 11 because I have to, because they keep me awake at night. This is my life. I don't like it. It's not fair. It's not right. It's not moral, and it doesn't have to be this way. That's what I want. I want these people to be brought to legal justice properly in a civilized way, and I want the people who have suffered to find freedom and liberation from their pain and their suffering, as I have for the most part, except for the suffering I go through now with the spraying. But I did from amalgam fillings, and I do mitigate my health problems with herbs and supplements. I do want to get into the deeper, darker subjects in the future, not because I like dark subjects, but when you get into the mind of those who are spraying, you understand what they really believe, what they really think, and it helps to answer the questions, why are they doing this? And it also helps you understand the times we live in. Why is good evil? Why is up down? Why is strength weakness? Why is light darkness? Why do you see all of these young Hollywood singers? Why do you see them? We're getting a little bit of feedback. Why do you see these people who go into Hollywood, go into singing, go into music, and suddenly they become, they do things that we don't want to see, we don't want to know about, we don't want our children exposed to? Why do they turn? Where do they come from? What is their mindset? What is making them do this? There is a purpose, a reason, a cause for all of this, and unless we know what it is, we will have a very difficult and confusing path trying to protect ourselves from it. This rabbit hole goes very deep, and there's so much I want to say. My mind starts spinning when I start touching upon this subject, because I want people to be aware of what's going on. But I want to invite you to go to globalskywatch.com to learn all about geoengineering. We have an enormous website with a lot of resources there. Please click on the resources link. Hundreds of pages, thousands, tens of thousands of pages on our forum of information. Check out our news feed. We have about 250 very important articles that everybody should see. If you want to get into the deep, dark side of who these people are, what they believe, why they're doing what they're doing, I don't want you to be afraid. I don't want anybody to be afraid, because this ends very well for those who understand what's going on. And this is part of my passion in life, is to help people understand what's going on so we can overcome the fear, and so that we can get the best experience out of our lives that we can, and ensure that we do good, we protect ourselves, and we're not deceived, because this is a great time of deception. And the more I've studied over the years, the more I've understood the reason, the focus, the type of deception, why are they doing it. And once you understand the big picture, which can be explained to you literally in about 10 minutes, you can explain the big picture in 10 minutes, and then you can go on endlessly with the details. But I want to get into that probably next week, a week from tonight. And I'll give you the big picture, and we'll talk about it so you understand, why are they doing it? Why? What do they believe? Their beliefs are so twisted and so far from the typical person's beliefs. They are trying to spread their religion. It's called the externalization of the hierarchy. It was spoken of by Helena Blavatsky. They said they were going to do this. They always say what they're going to, not always, I take that back. They often tell the public what they're going to do before they do it, but only to those who know what to look for. And I want to help you not only know what to look for, but know how to protect yourself, because it is my duty to do that. Learning what I've learned, I cannot keep quiet about it. To do so would be doing a disservice and would go against my conscience. I never dreamed in my life I would be doing this. So I hope you join us next week. I appreciate everybody in the chat room. Kim, I see you on there. CP, John, Dina, Kathy, Rob, and all the other people who help us. Thank you to all the administrators for our Facebook group. Our administrators work hard. It's a very thankless and difficult job. It's time-consuming, and I am very grateful for all the work that you do, and I would like to have you come on and speak anytime you want, share your mind, share your thoughts. This is it. I believe that this is the year that everything will begin spiraling downward. I hope I'm wrong, but based on my research, it appears to be coming to a head in the next few months. So please prepare yourselves. We're going to get into the details of what's going to be happening in the next few weeks on this show. because I want to help you be prepared. It's my obligation. Having done the research, again, I don't consider myself a scholar and a specialist in these subjects, but I have been at this for decades now and have put enough information together so that the big picture, I have put the big picture together, and once you know the big picture, everything falls into place. Why do they run the news stories? Why are they trying to do forced vaccinations? Why are they trying to take your guns away? Why are they passing laws they're passing? Why are they lying about certain types of shootings and exaggerating others? If you understand what they're trying to do to you, then everything will make sense. This is Russ Tanner from GlobalSkywatch.com. We'll be here next Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I wish you all well, and we will see you then. Good night, everyone.